Greetings children, this is MCQ based question bank issued by Cbse for class 12 Cbse students. English core subject. Let us check first why Cbse has brought this much changes in the question pattern. Let us take a quick look at that changes and then we can go to the questions. So Cbse has brought this much changes in the pattern of questions to stop that rote memorization of things and rudimentary comprehension. Rudimentary comprehension simply means simply learning the text, the basic structure there. Beyond that, a student should go deep into the text and understand the matters. That is the main reason why the Cbse wanted to change the pattern of the questions. Look at the points here. Practice, analysis based learning and problem solving. These two objectives are there with the Cbse. Students should get a practice in analysis based learning and problem solving. Not just meaning of text. Usually the traditional classroom teach only the basic meaning of a text and with that they complete the course. So promote a movement away from teaching to the text. This is what Cbse wants from the teachers and the children. So they recommend some methods like process of discovery. A student should learn the process of discovery and openness. Openness means receptivity to new ideas. To make the children receive new ideas, that is openness. Then imaginative engagement with the text and activity based learning. These four pillars is very essential to develop in the learner. So process of discovery, openness, imaginative engagement and activity based learning. Now let us check the questions. Look at the last lesson. First, multiple choice questions based on an extract. This we called simply extract based multiple choice questions, extract based MCQ. Look at the passage. Poor man. It was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes, and now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. This passage, this extract is taken from your first lesson, the last lesson. Now let us check the questions. First questions. You have to find out the answer from this extract. Why does the narrator refer to Moshe Hamel as poor man? The narrator called him as poor man. We have to find out, we have to infer the meaning of why the narrator called him as poor. Look at the options. He empathizes with Moshe Hamel as he had to leave the village. Maybe. Second, he believes that Moshe Hamel's fine Sunday clothes clearly reflected that he was not rich. This is not anything related with the story. So that option we can avoid at the first reading itself. Look at the third option. He feels sorry for Moshe Hamel as it was his last French lesson. Maybe. And D. He thinks that Moshe Hamel's patriotism and sense of duty resulted in his poverty. Are they resulted in his poverty? No. So two options we have already omitted. The remaining two options are he empathizes with Moshe Hamel as he had to leave the village, and he feels sorry for Moshe Hamel. So whether he empathizes with Moshe Hamel or whether he feels sorry for Moshe Hamel, this is the idea you have to clarify. First, take empathize. Empathizes means to put yourself in someone's shoes, which means that well-developed empathy. When you show some empathetic attitude towards somebody, which means that implies not only understanding what other person's feeling is, but also anticipating their response to such feelings. That is empathy. You feel yourself as somebody else. And here, no such a situation is described. So, he doesn't feel empathy towards his master. So, the right option here is C. He feels sorry for Moshe Hamel. So, instead of feel sorry, it can be given as sympathizes. He sympathizes with his master. So, he said, poor man. That is the right option. Come to the second question. Which of the following idiom might describe the village's act of attending the last lesson most accurately? The village people attended the class, and this action of attending the lesson, how should we describe their action in the given four phrases? Too good to miss, too little, too late, maybe. And C is too many cooks spoil the broth. That we know that when so many people engage in one activity, nothing will happen there. It does not mean with the attending of the elders in the class. D, too cool for school. So let us check the meaning of these phrases. Look at this phrase, too good to miss, which means that it is very good opportunity and the people should see it, do it, etc. In such a situation, we use this phrase, too good to miss, which means that it is a good film, you should watch it. Too good to miss it. You don't forget to read it, or you don't forget to watch it, or you don't forget to do it, because it is worth watching or worth doing. In such situation, we use the phrase too good to miss, which means that don't miss it. It is a good opportunity. That is the meaning of the phrase too good to miss it. So this option we can't choose for the attending of the elders of the last class. Now let us check the next phrase. Too little, too late, which means that not enough and arriving too late to resolve or save a situation. So this phrase, this idiom, too little, too late, is the most apt idiom for the people, the elders attending the class. Their attending the class is not enough and they arrive too late to resolve or to help the situation. So that is the right option. Look at the third phrase, too cool for school, very fashionable and confident in a way that impresses other people. That is too cool for school. Are they too cool for school? No. So this phrase, this idiom cannot be used for the attending of the elders in the last class. So too cool to late means inadequate, which means inadequate. So the answer for this is too little, too late, which means that their presence there is inadequate. Now question number 3. Choose the option that might raise a question about Moshe Hamel's faithful service. Choose the option that might raise a question. Against Moshe Hamel's faithful service. Look at the options there. When Franz came late, Moshe Hamel told him that he was about to begin class without him. That is a positive comment. That is not raising anything against Moshe Hamel's faithfulness of service. Look at the next. Franz mentioned how cranky Moshe Hamel was and his great ruler rapping on the table. Yes, it contains certain negative comments, the cranky nature of Moshe Hamel and his ruler. It shows his rudeness and some cranky nature, but it doesn't relate with his faithful service. Look at the next option. Moshe Hamel often sent students to water his flowers and gave a holiday when he wanted to go fishing. This is against that command, faithful service. Many a time he sent his children to water his plants, and whenever he wanted to go for a fishing, he declared a holiday for the entire school. That is a question against the statement, the faithful service. So C may be the right option. Let us check the next option also. Moshe Hamel permitted villagers put their children to work on a farm or at the mills for some extra money. Would he permit? No. So that option is not suitable for this question, faithful service. So the right option here is C. C is the right option. Come to question number 4. Choose the option that most appropriately fills in the blanks for the following description of the given extract. The villagers and their children sat in class, forging with their old master a dash togetherness. In that moment, the classroom stood dash. It was France itself, and the last French lesson a desperate hope to dash to the remnants of what they had known and taken for granted, their own dash. So look at the options here. The villagers and their children sat in class, forging with their old master a dash. Look at the options. Options you have to choose like this. First options you have to choose. Graceful, bygone, beautiful, forgotten. The villagers and their children sat in class, forging with their old master a graceful togetherness, maybe, bygone togetherness, maybe, beautiful togetherness, maybe, forgotten togetherness. That may be the most suitable one out of these 4. Let us check the second one. In that moment, the classroom stood dash. The classroom stood still or classroom stood up. Did the classroom stand still? No. So first option is omitted. Stood up. Did the class stand up? No. Let us check the next 2 options. Mesmerized. Are they mesmerized? Not. Transformed. Yes, they transformed. Transformed means changed greatly in appearance. That is transformed. The class stood transformed. Now let us check the other options also. It was France itself, and the last French lesson a desperate hope to dash to the remnants of what they had known, taken for granted. So the French lesson a desperate hope to hang on, keep on, carry on, hold on. So hold on is the right option there. Then the their own country, no, it can be, but Here the options are wrong. And education? No. Unity? No. Identity. Because language is the identity of these people, not the unity or education or country, but identity. So D is the right option for this question. The village and their children sat in class, forging with their old master a forgotten togetherness. In that moment, the classroom stood transformed. It was France itself, and the last French lesson, a desperate hope to hold on to the remnants of what they had known and taken for granted, their own identity. Look at the next question. Question number B. Moshe Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Then he opened a grammar book and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. Look at the questions related with this extract. Which of the following can be attributed to Moshe Hamel's declaration about the French language? Subject expertise? Nothing related with the expertise of subject here. Nostalgic pride? Yes, he is nostalgic, but it doesn't speak about a nostalgic pride. Factual accuracy? Not factual things he is saying here. Patriotic magnificence? Yes, it is the reflection of patriotic magnificence. That is what we see here. Attributed to Moshe Hamel's declaration about the French language. What he said about the French language that reflects his patriotic magnificence. Look at the second question. Read the quotes given below. Choose the option that might best describe Moshe Hamel's viewpoint. So 4 quotes are given here. We have to choose the best describe Moshe Hamel's viewpoint. What was his viewpoint? We have to choose from these options. Those who know nothing of foreign language know nothing of their own. It doesn't relate with the story, the last lesson. Language is the roadmap of a culture. It tells you where its people come from and where they are going. Rita Mae Brown's words. Yes, this quotation, this quote is somewhat related with the viewpoint of Moshe Hamel. Let us check the other options also. A poor man is like a foreigner in his own country. No. The greatest propaganda in the world is our mother tongue. That is what we learn as children, and which we learn unconsciously, that shapes our perceptions of life. Marshall McLuhan. So this idea is something related with the language, but not related with the viewpoint of Moshe Hamel, because the greatest propaganda in the world is our mother tongue. That is what we learn as children. Propaganda means some information, sometimes it is biased. So here mother tongue is not taken like that in the lesson. So the most appropriate option is second one. So the right option here is option B, that is the second one. That is the right answer. Come to the next one. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. Select the option that does not explain why France found the grammar lesson easy. So you have to choose one explanation that does not match with this statement. France was paying careful attention in the class this time. Yes, it is an yes explanation, but not explanation. Moshe Hamel was being extremely patient and calm in his teaching. Yes, on that day he was extremely patient and calm. Franz was inspired and had found a new meaning and purpose to learning. Yes, on that day he was really inspired and he found a new meaning and purpose in his learning. So the last would be the note explanation one. Franz had realized that French was the clearest and most logical language. This was not related with the grammar lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. Select the option that does not explain why Franz found the grammar lesson easy. So all the three options given there are explains why the grammar lesson was so easy, but the last one is not a suitable one. So that is the right option. Come to the next question. Franz was able to understand the grammar lesson easily because he was receptive, maybe, appreciative, no, introspective, no, competitive. So he was able to understand the grammar lesson easily because he was receptive. His readiness to accept, that proves that grammar lesson was so easy. Now second part, standalone MCQs. So first one was the extract based and the second one the standalone MCQs, that is text based MCQs. We can say that text based MCQs, the entire text. Look at the first question. Franz saw a huge crowd assembled in front of the bulletin board but did not stop. How would you evaluate his reason? So this situation we know very clearly. Why he did not stop there to look at the bulletin? The options are: Franz was too little to care about the news of lost battles. Not because of that. Nobody in Franz's family was in the army, so it did not matter. Nothing related with the story. Bad news had become very normal, so he went about his task. Yes, this may be the right option. Because nowadays, the bad news appearing on the bulletin board was a usual thing. And so he went about his task. What was his task? To join the class of Moshe Hamel. So he went away from there. Look at the fourth option. It was too crowded for Franz to find out what news was upon the. It was not that much crowded. So the right option here is C. Look at the next question. There was usually great bustle and noise when school began, but it was all very quiet. Which of the following describes Franz's emotions most accurately? Franz's emotions: shock and awe. Was he shocked? No. When he reached just outside the classroom, he was not shocked or he felt any awe. Awe means reverential respect with a mix of fear. He didn't feel like that. Then disappointment and anxiety, maybe. Confusion and distress. A little bit of confusion was with him, but he was not distressed. Curiosity, yes, curiosity was there. Uncertainty, no uncertainty that he has then and that time. So the right option here is disappointment and anxiety. Franz's emotion was one of disappointment and a little bit of anxiety. He was apprehensive. A little bit of apprehension we can see in Franz. Look at the next question. I never saw him look so tall. Which of the following best captures Moshe Hamel on the last day of the school? Look at the adjectives: cranky, miserable, dedicated, resigned. Was he cranky on the last day? No. Miserable? not that much miserable. Yes, he was dedicated, resigned. The word cranky means easily upset or irritable. Resigned. Resigned means accepting something that is unpleasant. He was not like that. Look at the second option. Patient. Yes, he was patient. Dignified. Yes, he kept his dignity by wearing the Sunday clothes. Emotional. Yes, he was emotional. When he was at the end of the class, he was emotional. He couldn't speak. And courageous. Yes, he showed his courage by writing Viva la France on the blackboard. So that could be the right option. Let us check the other options also. Calm. Yes, calm. Nostalgic. Disappointed. Patriotic. He was not disappointed, or he was not nostalgic also at that. He was proud, reproachful, not like that. Persistent and heroic. No. So out of these four options, B is somewhat similar with Moshe Hamel's on the phrase, I never saw him look so tall, which means that he was so courageous, he was emotional, and he was dignified, and he was patient. That is the right option. Look at question number 4. Look at the table below. Column A provides instances from the story, the last lesson. Column B provides titles of some famous English language poems. Choose the option that correctly match items of column A with column B. Look at the first column. Moshe Hamel distributed new copies that looked like little French flags and ended the class with an emphatic Vive la France. Look at the second option. Hauser sat at the end of the class, thumping his primer, desperately trying to learn with the children even as he cried. And the third option, Moshe Hamel shared how Alsace always put off learning, how its people always thought they had plenty of time. Option number, class ended when the church clock struck 12, and then the Angelus. Simultaneously, Prussian trumpets sounded under the school windows. Look at the column B. Remorse is memory awake. Emily Dickinson's poem. Remorse is memory awake. Remorse means repentance. Repentance is memory awake. A house called Tomorrow. Albert Rios. A house called Tomorrow. That tomorrow is very important for us. Let us check that option from this. Look at the third. Moshe Hamel shared how Alsace always put off learning for tomorrow. So B can be matched with this title, A House Called Tomorrow. And look at the next one. For whom the bell tolls. John Donne. For whom the bell tolls. That shows the end of some programs. Class ended when the church clock struck 12. So we can match fourth with this third. And do not go gentle into that good night. Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas's poem, do not go gentle into that good night. So Dylan Thomas in this poem, do not go gentle into that good night. Here, that good night here means death. Do not go gentle. You have to resist. Dylan Thomas in the poem says that you have to resist even at the old age. Don't let the death come so quickly to you. You have to resist. Let us check that fourth with the first one. Moshe Hamel distributed new copies that looked like little French flags and ended the class with an emphatic Viva la France. Viva la France means long live France. So that is a resistance. So one can be put here in fourth. So Ramos is memory awake. That Hauser sat at the end of the class thumping his primer desperately trying to learn with the children even as he cried. That can be put in this column. Remorse, repentance, that is memory awake. Here Hauser, he sat down in the class and his memory awake and he felt that remorse, repentance. So this is the order. Let us check this order in the answers. Fourth as third, fourth as third, and fourth as 1 as 4, 1 as 4, 2 as 1, and 3 as 2. So D is the right option. D is the right option. This is the MCQ session, and you may get a clear picture of what type of MCQs can be asked by Cbse. Other than the factual and some difficult level, you can expect questions like this. So more such a Cbse related material, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. I will come with the next lesson the next day. Don't forget to watch this video entirely and share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching till the end.